So today we're talking about some tech, and that tech is the newest Galaxy Gear devices that Samsung has released. I was not part of the release of these products, and so I've just been able to get my hands on them. We are talking about the Galaxy Watch Ultra, of course, and we are talking about the Galaxy Buds 3 and the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro. I have been wearing the watch for about 3 weeks now. I've had the Galaxy Buds 3 for also 3 weeks, and I've had the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro for about a week now. Let's start with the watch. This is not going to be a full review of these items, just a sort of kind of after the hype video to let you know that if you're thinking about these, what my sort of impressions are, and if any way you have any questions, I can answer them for you. So with all of these products, let me say, Tilder, if you're thinking about buying either one of these products, you should go out and buy the products. I don't know how good the Galaxy Watch 7 is, but from an understanding of how these Galaxy products kind of work, the Galaxy Watch 7 gives you about 90% of the functionality of the Galaxy Watch Ultra. And so if you want to save some money and get that watch, this watch is great. And if you get 90% of it, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Galaxy Buds 3 are great. Galaxy Buds 3 Pro are greater. Does that sort of satisfy it? All right, so let's talk about the watch. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about, actually, on all three of them, Samsung copying Apple. Here's the deal. When it comes to these sort of products, right? Phones, tablets, earbuds, watches, they have been, for the most part, the sort of progression that you would assume would happen with each device, right? So way back when Samsung released the Galaxy Gear, the first Galaxy Gear watch, till now, this is the progression of it. So the original Galaxy Gear, when Apple came out with their Apple Watch, those design languages were very similar. So as we've come, 9-10 years later, I think that this design language, where we are now, has just been a natural progression of that. The same with phones, the same with earbuds. For a long time, Samsung has used a pill shape. There's a number of reasons why that just didn't work. We'll get into it when I start talking about the earbuds. But as far as the phone goes, as far as the watch goes, this Galaxy Watch Ultra is just the progression of where the watch was going, especially once you get into this like rugged sort of do everything watch. And so to say that, one company is copying the other company, it's just fanboy rhetoric. And let's try to, at least for this video, stay away from that. So here are the good things about this watch. The screen is amazing. It's brighter than you can imagine. It's more amazing to look at than you can imagine. And you know that feeling when you get something new, you look at it the first time, despite all of the times you've seen it in pictures or videos, you just can't really appreciate it until you're looking at it. That's what this screen is. You can't really appreciate it until you have it on your wrist and you're looking at it. I love, the size of it. We've talked about this before. I am not a small person. I feel like this is the first time a watch has really kind of fit, the profile of a Jamil-sized watch. I will say that the one thing that I do think that Samsung really did copy Apple with is with the band and the sort of action button. I love both. I'm happy that Samsung copied it. I love this wristband. I think it's the first time that Samsung has had a band that kind of really fit my wrist, and so I love that. Let's talk about the fitness tracking, because I do really think that the watch has gotten really smart in that way. For a long time with my Samsung watches, I never used the fitness tracking on it just because I'm a lifter, right? I lift weights, and there has been no real way to sort of track those workouts with a watch. And so I just don't use it. I would never even set it up. I would never go into the watch to start using those tracking features. The thing that's great about this watch is it just does it for you. So one of the goals that I've set for September is to ride 100 miles on my mountain bike. So when I'm out and I start my riding when I start my ride for that day, the watch just starts tracking that workout. I didn't set it up. I have my, fitness stuff set up on my watch. It connects seamlessly. So when I start riding, it tracks that workout. When I come to a red light, it pauses. When I start again, when it's green, it restarts the workout. And then when I'm done with my riding, when I've put in my 5 or 10 miles or whatever, at the end of that workout, it lets me know all of the stats. Boom, I never have to start or stop it. When I am trying to get my 10,000 steps in for the day, once I start walking, it starts to track that workout. I never have to think about it. And so I really like that about this watch. Gestures. Let's talk about gestures. So there's 2 really cool gestures that I find myself using all the time. So when I'm in a warehouse, I'm listening to music, I don't want to reach in my pocket and pull out my phone. The knock knock gesture allows me to bring up my media controller so that I can skip through songs or whatever. And so with that knock knock gesture, it allows me to bring that up. I don't have to reach into my phone. I don't have to reach in my pocket, pull out my phone. I can keep my hands empty, keep working, keep it moving. The second gesture is sort of the double tap. The way that the double tap works is just like if you go into an app and the app is able to be controlled with a double tap, it'll show you like an icon that you can use it. So when I'm in my media controller, it'll show me that double tapping allows me to pause and play media. I think that's really cool. Another application that you can use it in is your camera controller. Maybe, you guys know this, maybe you don't, but with the camera controller on your watch, you can sort of use your watch to compose yourself. If you're using the rear cameras or the front cameras or whatever, trying to take a selfie, you can use the double tap feature to, use the shutter or to pause and, record video. It's really cool. It's a really cool feature. So those gestures are really cool. 3 buttons. The action button, you can set it to most anything, but mine is just set to turn on my flashlight. Why would I need a flashlight on my phone? Sometimes when I'm at work, I'm in the back of trucks. I don't want to pull my phone out. I can just hit that button real quick, use the flashlight. It's pretty bright. So yeah, I think that's cool. 2 major sort of deal breakers probably for most people. One is that it doesn't have a rotating bezel. Listen, I was the owner of the Galaxy Watch 6, that 6 Classic that did have the rotating bezel. I never used it. I just don't think that that's a thing that people really care about. I think that one of the problems that people had is that they feel like they took something away. So that's the first deal breaker. The second sort of deal breaker that I think people are having a problem with is that they changed the way that the bands attach to the phone. I think that they needed to do this. One of the things that really drove me crazy is that the space between the bands, when you used to connect them before, would just get really dusty. It would just get really dusty and grimy from like wrist sweat and stuff like that. So I like the way that they did it, but if you are a person who has like legacy bands that you really like to use, you can't use those bands anymore. So that's the Galaxy Watch. If you're interested in it, that's the Galaxy Watch Ultra. If you're interested in it and you're thinking about buying it, I think that you should, especially if you can trade in another watch to get some money off. It's an expensive watch, but I traded in my Galaxy Watch 7. I got $350 off, so this was really a no-brainer. Let's get into the Galaxy Buds, all right? Galaxy Bud 3, Galaxy Bud 3 Pro. When you look at the case, you can barely tell the difference between them. In fact, they're not different at all from the outside. Why do I have both? As you guys know, Samsung had some quality control issues with the Galaxy Buds 3. The silicone tips was breaking off when people were going to change them out. So they got put on hold for a long time. And I needed a new pair of buds. And so I did go out and I got the Galaxy Buds 3. But again, with the trade-in of another pair of Galaxy Buds, I think I was able to get both of these pair of Galaxy Buds for the price of just the Galaxy Buds 3 with that trade-in and another sort of deal that was going on with Samsung. But anyway, let's talk about the Galaxy Buds 3 for a second. This is the cheaper pair. This does not have a silicone tip. And let me tell you about this sort of design language that these are now. People are upset that they feel like Samsung is just copying Apple. But here's the thing. I have been a user of Samsung's earbuds since the Galaxy Bud something or another. The pill-shaped bud has two major flaws. One, they don't really fit in the ear. They never really fit in my ear. And there's just not this kind of universal kind of design language that met everyone's needs. The moment you shook your head, the moment you bounced, the moment you rode your bike over a bump, those earbuds fell out. I can't describe how frustrating it was having those earbuds fall out all the time. With this design language, the second major thing is that the call quality was just atrocious, because in order to have good call quality for the person on the other end of the call, the mic was just too far away from the mouth. It was tucked in your ear. If you were wearing a hat or a hoodie like I do all the time, the call quality was just terrible. This design language allows for the earbud to sit in the ear. No matter how much you jostle your head, they're not going anywhere. The stem allows for the mic to be closer to the mouth, which allows for better sound on the other end of the line. When I am talking to people, especially in the warehouse, a lot of times they don't even know that I'm on a pair of buds, and I think that that's something that Samsung really had to correct, and I think that this is just the natural progression of that correction. So, saying that it's copy from Apple is just, again, fanboy rhetoric. I do like the blade design that Samsung came up with, as opposed to just like, the rounded tips. I think that it gives it enough of a different sort of design language to differentiate it. But it's a pair of earbuds. It was the natural progression. I don't know if I can say a lot more about that. The sound on these are amazing when you're listening to music, when you're consuming media. It's a good pair of buds. It sits in the ear nicely. And then, again, this is just 90% of what these are. So the difference that you get in the Pros that you don't get in the Galaxy Buds 3 is that, I lost the light, is that, one, you get the silicone tips. Two, you get the lights on the blades. Let's see if I can get these to come on. There, you get those lights on the blade. I think that Samsung kind of missed out on an opportunity to make these like super cool with different colors, to have them pulse to the beat of the music that was going on. Like, if you were on a call, you could set it to a different color so that like people know that you're on a call. Hopefully that comes with software upgrades, but whatever. So those are pretty cool. There's an extra driver in the earbuds that allows for better, richer sound, more bass, and you can absolutely tell the difference between the two. A little better call quality. These have active noise canceling, which is actually really, really kind of cool, which is really, I should say, better with the silicone tips than they are on the Galaxy Buds 3. They're just amazing. Two things that I love about these Pros is that, let's say I am in the warehouse and I am listening to music on my cell phone and, having a good time. It's break time. I go into the break room. I want to watch The Bear, right, on my tablet. I don't have to disconnect my buds from my phone. I can just hit play on the tablet, start watching The Bear. It automatically switches to the tablet, and then vice versa. Break time's over. I put the tablet away, hit play on my phone, goes back to the music. It just switches seamlessly between those two devices, and I think that's really cool. And that works with any two devices that you have connected to your Samsung account and that these Pros are connected to. The second thing that I really love about these earbuds is that when you have them in your ear and you enable the translate feature on them, listen, in the warehouse, there are people who work for me who, English is their second language. Communication is key. Just have them talk Spanish. It translates directly into my ear. Like 80% of the time, it's really good. And so I just think that that's amazing. I don't think for a second that it's groundbreaking. I'm sure other earbuds have probably had this, but that brings me to my last point about, sort of everything everywhere. I'm a person who uses Samsung products. So I am not interested in whether or not the Samsung buds are better than the Apple buds, right? They essentially do the same thing, right? I need them to listen to music. I need them to take calls. I need them to watch media. If they do those things well enough for you, then that should be the end of that conversation. If you have an Apple phone, you probably should get Apple Buds. If you have a Samsung phone, you should probably get Samsung Buds. If you have a Google phone, you should probably get Google Buds. If you have a OnePlus phone, you should probably get the earphone ones or whatever. I don't think that we should be spending our time comparing these things against each other just because who cares, right? You can't afford to go out and buy everything. Go out, get the thing that you want, enjoy it, let that be the end of it. So, the long story is, if you are thinking about the Galaxy Bud Pros, you should get them. If you're thinking about the Galaxy Buds 3, you should get those. If you're thinking about the Galaxy Watch Ultra, you should get the watch. They're all fantastic items, and after the hype, I think it's worth it. So that's the video. If you guys have any questions, let's talk about it down in the comments. Until then, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.